The Quiet Strength of Wisdom. Mastering Life's Challenges with Grace in Old Age. Hello, dear readers of Psychology Old Age. I'm thrilled to welcome you to this deep dive into a topic that's as fascinating as it is vital: the art of choosing silence, restraint, and grace as we navigate the complexities of aging. Have you ever paused to wonder why, as the years pile on, some battles feel less worth fighting? Is it exhaustion? Or could it be something far more profound, a quiet, intentional strength born from decades of living, learning, and loving? Today, I'm stepping into my role as a seasoned psychiatrist and medical professional to unpack this idea with you. Weaving together insights from the transcript you've provided, global medical knowledge, and my own passion for understanding the human mind and spirit. This isn't just an article, it's a journey. One I hope will inspire you, challenge you, and leave you feeling empowered to embrace the wisdom that comes with age. The science and soul of choosing silence. Before we dive into the specific scenarios, let's set the stage with a bit of context. Aging isn't just a biological process, it's a psychological and emotional evolution. Decades of research, from the American Journal of Psychiatry to studies by the World Health Organization, tell us that as we age, our brains undergo remarkable shifts. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making and emotional regulation, often becomes more adept at prioritizing peace over conflict. This isn't about slowing down, it's about sharpening our focus on what truly matters. Meanwhile, our amygdala, the brain's alarm system, tends to mellow out, reducing knee-jerk reactions to stress. In short, science backs what many of us feel intuitively. With age comes a capacity for calm that's hard-earned and deeply powerful. But this isn't just about neurons and synapses, it's about the soul. After years of treating patients and reflecting on my own life, I've come to see aging as a masterclass in resilience. Every wrinkle tells a story of triumph or survival. Every gray hair is a badge of lessons learned. And one of the most profound lessons? Knowing when to let go. The transcript hints at this beautifully. Choosing not to respond in certain situations could be the ultimate display of strength and intelligence. I couldn't agree more. This isn't passivity, it's strategy, rooted in emotional intelligence and a fierce commitment to preserving our dignity and peace. So, what does this look like in practice? Let's explore 7 situations where this quiet strength shines, starting with one that hits close to home for so many of us. 1. When family members make decisions without consulting you. Picture this. You're sitting at the kitchen table, sipping your morning coffee, when your daughter casually mentions she's arranged for a home health aide to visit, without asking you first. Or maybe your son has quietly taken over managing your finances, assuming it's for your own good. These moments sting, don't they? The transcript captures it perfectly. It feels like a quiet erasure of our voice. A silent yet unmistakable message that our opinions no longer carry weight. As a psychiatrist, I've seen this scenario play out countless times, and the emotions it stirs, hurt, resentment, even anger, are as real as they are valid. Why does this happen? Often, it's love dressed up as overprotection. Research from the Journal of Gerontology suggests that adult children may step in out of anxiety about their parents aging, projecting their own fears onto practical decisions. But good intentions don't erase the impact. Losing autonomy can feel like losing a piece of yourself, especially when independence has defined your life for decades. So, what's the wise move here? The knee-jerk reaction might be to snap. Why didn't you ask me? And trust me. That's tempting. But let's flip the script. Imagine taking a deep breath and saying, I can see you're concerned. And I appreciate that. Let's figure this out together. This isn't surrender, it's strength. By pausing, you're not just preserving your dignity, you're opening a door to collaboration. Studies on family dynamics, like those from the Family Process Journal, show that calm, assertive communication reduces conflict and rebuilds trust. You're not invisible, you're in control, steering the conversation with grace. I once had a patient, Margaret, a spry 78-year-old whose kids had started planning her move to assisted living without her input. She felt sidelined, erased. Instead of arguing, she invited them over, made tea, and said, I know you're worried about me, but I'm still here, and I'd love to be part of this. That simple act shifted everything. They ended up planning together, and she stayed in her home with minor adjustments. That's the power of restraint. It turns a potential rift into a bridge. This isn't about giving up your voice, it's about using it wisely. You've lived through enough to know that not every fight is worth the energy. By choosing when and how to respond, you remind everyone, including yourself, that your wisdom still commands respect. 2. When someone underestimates your abilities. Now, let's talk about something that can really get under your skin. Being underestimated because of your age. The transcript nails it. A young cashier hesitatingly explaining how to use a touchscreen, or a neighbor stepping in to help with something you've mastered decades ago. I've felt that flicker of indignation myself, haven't you? It's not just annoying, it's a subtle jab at your competence. A reminder that society often sees age as a decline rather than a triumph. Psychologically, this stings because it clashes with our self-concept. The British Journal of Social Psychology highlights how stereotypes about aging, think, slow, fragile, or out of touch, can erode self-esteem if we internalize them. But here's the kicker. They don't have to. The real strength lies in knowing your worth, even when others don't see it. The transcript suggests a brilliant tactic. Instead of reacting with frustration, simply smile and say, "Thank you for explaining that. This isn't weakness, it's a power play. You're choosing peace over pride, letting their assumptions roll off you like water off a duck's back." Take my friend Tom, a retired engineer in his 80s. A tech store clerk once talked down to him about a laptop. Assuming he'd never used one, Tom could have lectured the kid. He'd designed systems more complex than anything in that store, but instead, he nodded, thanked him, and later fixed his grandson's computer with a grin. That quiet competence spoke louder than any rebuttal. Research from the Psychology and Aging Journal backs this up. Older adults who maintain self-efficacy, belief in their abilities, report higher life satisfaction. Regardless of external judgments, underestimation can even be a secret weapon. When people assume less of you, they're caught off guard by your capabilities, whether it's mastering a smartphone or outsmarting them in a debate. You don't need to prove yourself every time. Your life's tapestry, woven with resilience, skill, and grit, already does that. So, next time someone doubts you, smile. Let them underestimate you, then shine on your terms. 3. When family arguments or tensions arise. Family, our greatest joy and, let's be honest, sometimes our biggest headache. The transcript puts it beautifully. Family is undeniably one of life's greatest blessings, yet it can also be a profound source of emotional pain. As we age, we often find ourselves in the middle of these storms, siblings dredging up old grudges, kids clashing over values, or grandkids testing boundaries. It's exhausting, and the stakes feel higher because these are the people we love most. Why do these tensions hit harder in old age? Partly, it's emotional investment. Decades of history amplify every word. Partly, it's our role, as elders. We're seen as mediators, wisdom keepers, but jumping into every fray can backfire. The Journal of Family Psychology notes that over-involvement in conflicts can escalate stress and strain relationships. So, what's the wiser path? The transcript suggests gentle detachment, a phrase I adore. Try saying, "It sounds like you all feel strongly about this. I'm confident you'll work it out." You're not dodging, you're diffusing. I saw this with a patient, Clara, 82, whose daughters argued over her care. One wanted a nursing home. The other insisted she stay home. Clara could have taken sides, but instead, she sat them down and said, "You both love me, and that's what matters. Let's find a way together." Her calm presence shifted the focus from winning to healing. That's the magic of stepping back. You become the anchor, not the lightning rod. This isn't apathy, it's love in action. You've seen enough to know that time heals most wounds. And what feels urgent today often fades. By staying neutral, you protect your peace and model grace for your family. Your legacy isn't in settling scores, it's in fostering unity. 4. When you encounter technology you don't fully understand. Let's talk tech. A whirlwind that can leave even the sharpest minds dizzy. The transcript captures the overwhelm. Technology today often feels like an entirely different universe, a relentless tide of innovations. Smartphones, apps, AI, it's a lot. And for those of us who remember rotary phones, it can feel like we're playing catch-up in a game we didn't sign up for. Neurologically, This makes sense. The Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience explains that while older brains remain plastic, capable of learning, processing speed slows, making rapid tech changes harder to absorb. But here's the good news. You don't have to master it all. The transcript suggests a gem. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. I'm struggling with this. Could you show me? This isn't defeat, it's connection. I recall a patient, Henry, 76, who dreaded his new iPhone. Instead of faking it, he asked his granddaughter to teach him. They spent an afternoon laughing over FaceTime mishaps. And he not only learned but bonded with her in a way he hadn't before. Studies from the International Journal of Aging and Human Development show that intergenerational tech sharing boosts mood and reduces isolation. It's a win-win. Curiosity is your ally here. Approach tech like a puzzle, not a threat. Can't figure out Zoom? Laugh it off and learn one button at a time. You've adapted to bigger changes, wars, recessions, cultural shifts. This is just another hill to climb. And if it's too much, let it go. Tech's a tool, not your worth. Focus on what it enables. Calls with loved ones. A song that lifts your spirit. That's where the real magic lies. 5. When someone criticizes your choices or lifestyle. Oh, the unsolicited advice brigade. The transcript hits home. There will always be those who feel compelled to voice their unsolicited opinions about your spending habits, your eating habits, your lifestyle. Maybe it's a friend questioning your lavish vacation or a relative tutting at your late-night TV habit. It's personal, and it can sting. This taps into a core psychological need, autonomy. The American Psychological Association notes that perceived control over our lives is tied to well-being. And criticism threatens that. But here's the wisdom. You don't have to fight it. The transcript advises a quiet smile and a gentle, I hadn't thought of that, even when you have. This isn't lying, it's choosing peace. I once knew a woman, Edith, 85, who loved her daily glass of wine. Her nephew lectured her about health risks. She could have argued, she knew the studies, moderation's benefits, but she just nodded and sipped on. Later, she told me, I've earned this joy. He doesn't need to get it. That's the beauty of age. You've lived enough to know your choices are yours. Shaped by a life no one else can judge. Criticism often says more about the critic than you. They're projecting their values, not measuring yours. So, let it slide. You've got the freedom to live unapologetically, whether it's splurging on a trip or wearing mismatched socks. Your happiness outweighs their opinions every time. 6. When arguments over politics or beliefs arise. In today's polarized world, politics and beliefs are minefields. The transcript nails it. Discussions about politics, religion, can drive wedges even between the closest of families and friends. You've seen it, dinner tables turning into battlegrounds. As someone who's lived through decades of change, you've got perspective, but sharing it can feel like shouting into the wind. Why do these debates escalate? The Journal of Personality and Social Psychology points to confirmation bias. We cling to beliefs that affirm our identity. Add emotional stakes, and it's a recipe for chaos. But you don't have to play. The transcript suggests silence is the most powerful response. You all have so much energy for this. I admire that. You're not caving. You're rising above. I saw this with a patient, George, 79, whose kids sparred over climate policy. He could have weighed in. He'd marched for environmental causes in the 70s. But he smiled and shifted to a story about their childhood camping trips. The tension melted. Research from Conflict Resolution Quarterly supports this. De-escalation preserves relationships better than winning. Your voice matters, but timing is everything. Save it for when it'll be heard, not drowned out. Peace isn't just for you, it's a gift to those you love. A reminder that connection trumps conviction. 7. When someone tries to take advantage of your kindness. Finally, let's tackle a tough one. When your generosity is exploited. The transcript warns. Some don't see our compassion as a gift but an opportunity. A pushy salesperson. A friend. With endless favors. It's a gut punch to your good nature. This tests our boundaries. A key psychological concept. The Journal of Clinical Psychology ties strong boundaries to mental health. Especially in later life when energy is precious. The transcript's advice? I'm not sure I understand. Let me think about it. That pause is gold. It buys you time to assess intent. I had a patient, Rose, 81, whose neighbor kept borrowing money. She felt guilty saying no, until she started saying, "I'll get back to you." Most requests fizzled out. She kept her kindness, but on her terms. Studies from the gerontologist show that selective generosity boosts self-worth without burnout. Your compassion is a treasure. Protect it with discernment, not guilt. You've earned the right to give where it's valued, not demanded. The legacy of quiet strength. As we wrap up, let's reflect. The transcript closes with a truth I hold dear. Old age is not some retreat. It is the grand culmination of everything we have learned. These 7 scenarios aren't about fading, they're about thriving. Choosing silence, restraint, or humility isn't weakness, it's wisdom, honed by a life richly lived. Science agrees. The Lancet Psychiatry links emotional regulation in older adults to longevity and happiness. But beyond data, it's personal. You've faced enough to know what's worth your energy. That's not just strength, it's a legacy. By living this way, you teach others, your kids, grandkids, friends, that peace is power. That love outlasts arguments. So, what's your takeaway? Maybe it's pausing before reacting, or smiling at underestimation. Drop a comment. 1 if this resonated. 0 if I've missed the mark. I'd love to hear your stories. This is Psychology Old Age, your space to explore, grow, and shine. Let's keep the conversation going.